Link wasn't working that you sent.
And howdy, everybody. Welcome to the word number 223. Howdy, Lynn.
Hi.
Howdy, Gwen. Howdy, Harmony. Harmony. And howdy, Glenna. Okay. Howdy, everybody. Brenda, Jason. Anybody else out there? Is there anybody out there? Okay. Today
let's begin it with Pink Floyd, shall we?
Yeah.
Everybody have a moment of silence.
So we're going to be reading today in Jasher, starting at chapter 61, going through 62, 63, 64, and 65. For those of you that don't live on the southern border of the United States, that's 65. Okay. How's everybody doing? Good Sabbath so far?
Yes. I take Sabbath personally very seriously.
Okay. And that, as usual, let's go ahead and pray in. Good morning, Father. Thank you very much for giving us this day of rest and the ability to come together over these great distances. We're very thankful that you've called us to be your sons and daughters, and would ask for you to pour out your spirit of knowledge and understanding, your spirit of discernment over everyone here now and in the future, so that they get the message that you need us to have as a group or individuals. We thank you for that. We would ask you to put your healing touch and protection over those that are dealing with illness right now, and restore them fully, and cover those who are traveling today. If you would put your mercy and your protecting angels around them. Thank you, Father. We love you in Jesus, Yeshua's name. Amen. All righty. Okay. Let's see. All right. Now we have Katerina. Hello. Bonjour. Bob and Jason and Jess. Welcome. All right. Let's get rolling. Do we want to do the screen share where everybody gets to read with us? Okay, so we're going to go me, Lynn, Gwen, Harmony, and Glenna. Or do you want to go first, Glenna? Is your battery? You're muted.
Yeah, my battery is already down to 86%, and it just goes quick.
Okay, so we'll go me, Glenna. Actually, we'll have you read first, Glenna, and then I'll just read last.
Okay, all right.
You want her to read first? Harmony?
Harmony, want to read first?
Okay.
I think she should read first.
Harmony, you can read first if you want. And away.
Well, did I have a choice?
Here we go.
And it came to pass that at that time, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, commanded his people to make for him a strong palace in Egypt. And he also commanded the sons of Jacob to assist Egypt in building and the Egyptians made a beautiful, elegant palace for a royal habitation, and he dwelt therein, and he rewarded his government. He resigned securely, and Zebulun, the son of Jacob, died in that year. That is the 72nd year of the going down of Israel to Egypt, and Zebulun died 114 years old, and was put into a coffin and given into the hands of his children. And the 75th year he died. His brother Simon, he was 120 years old at his death, and he was also put in a coffin and given into the hands of his children. and Zephano, the son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, captain of the host of Angus, king of Dinhuaba, was still daily enticing Angus to prepare for battle to fight with the sons of Jacob in Egypt. In Egypt, Angus was unwilling to do this, for his servants had related to him all the might of the sons of Jacob, what they had done unto them in their battle with the children of Esau. And Zepho, was it?
Yeah.
And Zepho, in those days, daily enticing geese to fight the sons of Jacob. In those days, and after sometime Angus' heart hearkened to the words of Tesphel, and consented to him to fight with the sons of Jacob in Egypt, and Angus, I feel like I'm pronouncing that wrong.
That's okay.
Got all his people in order, a people numerous as the sand which is upon the seashore, and he formed his resolution to go to Egypt to battle. And amongst the servants of Angus was a youth, 15 years old, Balaam, the son of Beor was his name, and the youth was very wise, and understood the art of witchcraft. And Angus unto Balaam, conjure for us, I pray you, with the witchcraft, and that we may know who will prevail in this battle, to which we are now proceeding. And Balaam ordered that they should bring him wax, and made him thereof the likeness of chariots and horsemen, representing the army of Angus and the army of Egypt, and putting them in the cunningly prepared waters that had proposed. And he took his hand and brought of myrtle trees, and exercised his cunning, and he joined them over the water, and there appeared unto him in the waters resembling images of hosts of Angus falling before the resembling images of the mystery or Egypt. And the sons of Jacob and Balaam told this thing to Angus, and Angus despaired, and did not arm himself to go down to Egypt. To go down to Egypt to battle, and he remained in his city. And when Tesphel, the son of Eliphaz, saw that Angus despaired of going forth to battle with the Egyptians, Tesphel fled from Angus and from Africa, and he went and came unto Kittim. That sounds like Kittim. Kittim, and all the people of Kittim received with great honor, and they hired him to fight their battles all the days. And Tesphel became exceedingly rich in those days. And the troops of the king of Africa still spread themselves in those days. And the children of Kittim assembled and went to Mount Kaptisa, and account to the troops of Angus, king of Africa, who were advancing upon them. And it was one day that Tespo lost a young heifer, and he went to seek it, and he heard a lowing round about the mountain. And Tespo went, and he saw, and behold, there was a large cave at the bottom of the mountain, and there was a great stone there at the entrance of the cave. And Tespo split the stone, and he came into the cave. And he looked, and behold, a large animal was devouring the ox. From the middle upward, it resembled a man, and from the middle downward it resembled an animal. Tespo rose up against the animal and slew it with his swords. The inhabitants of Kittim heard of this thing, and they rejoiced exceedingly, as they said, "What shall we do unto this man who slain an animal that devoured our cattle?" And they all assembled to consecrate one day in the year to him, and called the name therefore Tespo after his name. And they brought unto him drinks offerings year after year on that day. And they brought unto him gifts. At the time, it's right up here. That's my guess. Janna, the daughter of Uzu, the woman of the king Angus, became ill, and her illness was heavily felt by Angus. And her officers and Angus said unto his wise men, "What shall I do to Janna, how I shall heal her from her illness?" And his wise men said unto him, "Because of the air of our country, it is not like the air of the land of Kittim, and our water is not like the water, therefore this has the queen become ill. For through the change of the air and the water, she became ill. And because of her country, she drank only the water which came from Purma, which her ancestors had brought up with bridges." And Angus commanded his servants, and they brought unto him in vessels of water, and Purma belonging to Kittim. And they weighed those waters with all the waters of the land in Africa, and they found those waters lighter than the waters of Africa. And Angus saw this thing, and commanded all of his officers to assemble the hewers, I believe, of stone in the thousands and tens of thousands, and they hewed stone without number. And the builders came, and they built an exceedingly strong bridge, and they conveyed this of the spring of water from the land of Kittim unto Africa. And those waters were Janna, the queen, and for all her concerns, to drink and to bake, wash, bath therewith. And also water therewith all seed which food can be obtained, and all fruit of the ground. And the king commanded that they should bring of the soil of Kittim in large ships. And they also brought stones to build therewith, and builders built places for Janna, the queen, and the queen became healed of her illness. And at the revolution of the year the troops of Africa continued coming to the land of Kittim to plunder as usual. And Tesfel, son of Eliphaz, heard of their report and gave orders concerning them, and he fought with them, and he fled before him, and he delivered the land of Kittim from them. And the children of Kittim saw the valor of Tesfel, and the children of Kittim resolved, and they made Tesfel king over them, and he became king over them. And while he reigned, they went to subdue the children of Tubal, and all the surrounding islands, and their king Tesfel went at their head, and they made war with Tubal. And the islands they subdued them, and when they returned from battle, they renewed his government for him. And they built for him a very large palace for his royal habitation, and seats, and they made a large throne for him. And Tesfel reigned over the whole land of Kittim, and over the land of Italy 50 years.
Glenna?
Okay. Josh, okay. Nicely done, young sister. Chapter 62. Is that in that year, being the 79th year of the Israelites going down into Egypt, died Reuben, the son of Jacob, in the land of Egypt. Reuben was 125 years old when he died, and they put him into a coffin, and he was given into the hands of his children. And in the 80th year died his brother Dan. He was 120 years at his death, and he was also put into a coffin and given into the hands of his children. And in that year died Husham, king of Edom, and after him reigned Hadad, the son of Bedad, for 35 years. And in the 81st year died Issachar, the son of Jacob, in Egypt. And Issachar was 122 years old at his death, and he was put into a coffin in Egypt and given into the hands of his children. And in the 82nd year died Asher, his brother. He was 123 years old at his death, and he was placed in a coffin in Egypt and given into the hands of his children. And in the 83rd year died Gad. He was 125 years old at his death, and he was put into a coffin in Egypt and given into the hands of his children. And it came to pass in the 84th year, that is the 50th year of the reign of Hadad, son of Bedad, king of Edom, that Hadad assembled all the children of Esau, and he got his whole army in readiness, about 400,000 men, and he directed his way to the land of Moab. And he went to fight with Moab and to make them tributary to him. And the children of Moab heard this thing, and they were very much afraid. And they sent to the children of Midian to assist them in fighting with Hadad, son of Bedad, king of Edom. And Hadad came into the land of Moab, and Moab and the children of Midian went out to meet him. And they placed themselves in battle array against him in the field of Moab. And Hadad fought with Moab, and there fell the children of Moab and the children of Midian, many slain ones, about 200,000 men. And the battle was very severe upon Moab. And when the children of Moab saw that the battle was sore upon them, they weakened their hands and turned their backs and left the children of Midian to carry on the battle. And the children of Midian knew not the intentions of Moab, but they strengthened themselves in battle and fought with Hadad, and all his host, and all Midian fell before him. And Hadad smote all Midian with a heavy smiting, and he slew them with the edge of the sword. He left none remaining of those who came to assist Moab. And when all the children of Midian had perished in battle, and the children of Moab had escaped, Hadad made all Moab at that time tributary to him, and they became under his hand. And they gave a yearly tax as it was ordered, and Hadad turned and went back to his land. And at the revolution of the year, when the rest of the people of Midian that were in the land heard that all their brethren had fallen in battle with Hadad for the sake of Moab, because the children of Moab had turned their backs in battle and left Midian to fight, then 5 of the princes of Midian resolved with the rest of their brethren who remained in their land to fight with Moab to avenge the cause of their brethren. And the children of Midian sent to all their brethren, the children of the east, and all of their brethren, all the children of Keturah, came to assist Midian to fight with Moab. And the children of Moab heard this thing, and they were greatly afraid that all the children of the east had assembled together against them for battle. And they, the children of Moab, sent a memorial to the land of Edom to Hadad, the son of Bedad, saying, "Come now unto us and assist us, and we will smite Midian. For they all assembled together and have come against us with all their brethren, the children of the east, to battle, to avenge the cause of Midian that fell in battle." And Hadad, son of Bedad, king of Edom, went forth with his whole army and went to the land of Moab to fight with Midian. And Midian and the children of the east fought with Moab in the field of Moab, and the battle was very fierce between them. And Hadad smote all the children of Midian and the children of the east with the edge of the sword. And Hadad at that time delivered Moab from the hand of Midian. And those that remained of Midian and of the children of the east fled before Hadad and his army, and Hadad pursued them to their land and smote them with a very heavy slaughter, and the slain fell in the road. And Hadad delivered Moab from the hand of Midian, for all of the children of Midian had fallen by the edge of the sword, and Hadad turned and went back to his land. And from that day forth, the children of Midian hated the children of Moab, because they had fallen in battle for their sake, and there was a great and mighty enmity between them all the days. And all that were found in Midian in the road of the land of Moab perished by the sword of Moab, and all that were found of Moab in the road of the land of Midian perished by the sword of Midian. Thus did Midian unto Moab, and Moab unto Midian for many days. And it came to pass at that time that Judah, the son of Jacob, died in Egypt, in the 86th year of Jacob's going down to Egypt. And Judah was 129 years old at his death, and they embalmed him and put him into a coffin, and he was given into the hands of his children. And in the 89th year died Naphtali. He was 132 years old, and he was put into a coffin and given into the hands of his children. And it came to pass in the 91st year of the Israelites going down to Egypt, that this, in the 30th year of the reign of Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, over the children of Kittim, the children of Africa came upon the children of Kittim to plunder them as usual, but they had not come upon them for these 13 years. And they came to them in that year, and Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, went out to them with some of his men and smote them desperately. And the troops of Africa fled from before Zepho, and the slain fell before him. And Zepho and his men pursued them, going on and smiting them until they were near unto Africa. And Angeas, king of Africa, heard the thing which Zepho had done, and it vexed him exceedingly. And Angeas was afraid of Zepho all the days.
Is it my turn?
It is if you want it.
Excuse me?
Go
I
ahead.
think so.
Okay, then I'll just go. Chapter 63. In the 93rd year died Levi, the son of Jacob, in Egypt, and Levi was 137 years old when he died. And they put him into a coffin, and he was given into the hands of his children. And it came to pass after the death of Levi, when all Egypt saw that the sons of Jacob, the brethren of Joseph, were dead, all the Egyptians began to afflict the children of Jacob, and to embitter their lives from that day unto the day of their going forth from Egypt. And they took from their hands all the vineyards and fields which Joseph had given unto them, and all the elegant houses in which the people of Israel lived, and all the fat of Egypt the Egyptians took all from the sons of Jacob in those days. And the hand of all Egypt became more grievous in those days against the children of Israel, and the Egyptians injured the Israelites until the children of Israel were wearied of their lives on account of the Egyptians. And it came to pass in those days, in the 102nd year of Israel's going down to Egypt, that Pharaoh, king of Egypt, died, and Malol his son reigned in his stead. And all the mighty men of Egypt and all that generation which knew Joseph and his brethren died in those days. And another generation rose up in their stead, which had not known the sons of Jacob, and all the good which they had done to them, and all their might in Egypt. Therefore all Egypt began from that day forth to embitter the lives of the sons of Jacob, and to afflict them with all manner of hard labor, because they had not known their ancestors who had delivered them in the days of the famine. And this was also from the Lord for the children of Israel, to benefit them in their latter days, in order that all the children of Israel might know the Lord their God. And in order to know the signs and mighty wonders which the Lord would do in Egypt on account of his people Israel, in order that the children of Israel might fear the Lord God of their ancestors and walk in all his ways, they and their seed after them all the days. Malol was 20 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 94 years, and all Egypt called his name Pharaoh, after the name of his father, as it was their custom to do to every king who reigned over them in Egypt. And all that time, all the troops of Angeas, king of Africa, went forth to spread along the land of Kittim as usual for plunder. And Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, heard their report, and he went forth to meet them with his army, and he fought them there in the road. And Zepho smote the troops of the king of Africa with the edge of the sword, and left none remaining of them, and not even one returned to his master in Africa. And Angeas heard of this which Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, had done to all his troops, that he had destroyed them. And Angeas assembled all his troops, all the men of the land of Africa, a people numerous like the sand of the seashore. And Angeas sent to Lucas his brother, saying, Come with me with all thy men, and help me to smote Zepho and all the children of Chittim, who have destroyed my men. And Lucas came with his whole army, a great force, to assist Angeas his brother to fight Zepho and the children of Chittim. And Zepho and the children of Chittim heard this thing, and they were greatly afraid, and a great terror fell upon their hearts. And Zepho also sent a letter to the land of Edom to Hadad, the son of Bedad, king of Edom, and to all the children of Esau, saying, I have heard that Angeas, king of Africa, is coming to us with his brother for battle against us, and we are greatly afraid of him, for his army is very great, particularly as he comes against us with his brother and his army likewise. Now therefore, come you also up with me and help me, and we will fight together against Angeas and his brother Lucas, and you will save us out of their hands. But if not, know ye that we shall all die. And the children of Esau sent a letter to the children of Chittim and to Zepho their king, saying, We cannot fight against Angeas and his people, for a covenant of peace has been between us these many years, from the days of Bela the first king, and from the days of Joseph the son of Jacob, king of Egypt, with whom we fought on the other side of Jordan when he buried his father. And when Zepho heard the words of his brethren, the children of Esau, he refrained from them, and Zepho was greatly afraid of Angeas. And Angeas and Lucas his brother arrayed all their forces, about 800,000 men, against the children of Chittim. And all the children of Chittim said unto Zepho, Pray for us to the God of thy ancestors, peradventure he may deliver us from the hand of Angeas and his army. For we have heard that he is a great God, and that he delivers all who trust in him. And Zepho heard their words, and Zepho sought the Lord and said, O Lord God of Abraham and Isaac, my ancestors, this day I know that thou art a true God, and all the gods of the nations are vain and useless. Remember now this day unto me thy covenant with Abraham our father, which our ancestors related unto us, and do graciously with me this day for the sake of Abraham and Isaac our fathers, and save me from the children of Kittim from the hand of the king of Africa who comes against us for battle. And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Zepho, and he had regard for him on account of Abraham and Isaac. And the Lord delivered Zepho and his children of Kittim from the hands of Angeas and his people. And Zepho fought against Angeas, king of Africa, and all his people on that day. And the Lord gave all the people of Angeas into the hands of the children of Kittim. And the battle was severe upon Angeas, and Zepho smote all the men of Angeas and Lucas his brother with the edge of the sword, and there fell from them unto the evening of that day about 400,000 men. And when Angeas saw that all his men perished, he sent a letter to all the inhabitants of Africa to come to him to assist him in the battle. And he wrote in the letter, saying, All who are found in Africa, let them come unto me from 10 years old and upward. Let them all come unto me. And behold, if he comes not, he shall die, and all that he has with his whole household the king will take. And all the rest of the inhabitants of Africa were terrified at the word of Angeas, and there were out of the city about 300,000 men and boys from 10 years upward, and they came to Angeas. And at the end of 10 days, Angeas renewed the battle upon Zepho and the children of Kittim, and the battle was very great and strong between them. And from the army of Angeas and Lucas, Zepho sent many of the wounded into his hand, about 200,000 men. And Zosaphar, the king of the host of Angeas, fell in that battle. And when Zosaphar had fallen, the African troops turned their backs to flee, and they fled. And Angeas and Lucas his brother were with them. And Zepho and the children of Kittim pursued them, and they smote them still heavily on the road, about 200,000 men. And they pursued Asdrubal, the son of Angeas, who had fled with his father, and they smote 20 of his men in the road. And Asdrubal escaped from the children of Kittim, and they did not slay him. And Angeas and Lucas his brother fled with the rest of their men, and they escaped and came into Africa with terror and consternation. And Angeas feared all the days lest Zepho the son of Eliphaz should go to war with him.
Go ahead, Gwen.
And Balaam the son of Beor was at the time with Angus in the battle, and when he saw Zepho prevailed over Angus, he fled from there and came to Kittim. And Zepho, the children of Kittim, received him with great honor. For Zepho knew Balaam's wisdom, and Zepho gave unto Balaam many gifts, and he remained with him. And when Zepho had returned from war, he commanded all the children of Kittim to be numbered who had gone into battle with him, and behold, not one was misread. And Zepho rejoiced at this thing, and he renewed his kingdom, and he made a feast to all his subjects. But Zepho remembered not Yahuwah, and considered not Yahuwah had helped him in battle, and that he had delivered him and his people from the hand of the king of Africa, but still walked in the ways of the children of Kittim, and the wicked children of Esau, to serve under Elohim, which his brethren and children of Esau had taught him. It is therefore said, From the wicked goes forth wickedness. And Zepho reigned over the children of Kittim securely, but knew not Yahuwah, who had delivered him and all his people from the hand of the king of Africa. And the troops of Africa came no more to Kittim, to plunder as usual, for they knew of the power of Zepho, had smitten them all at the edge of the sword. So Angeas was afraid of Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, and the children of Kittim all the days. At the time when Zepho had returned from war, when Zepho had seen how he prevailed over the people of Africa, and had smitten them in battle at the edge of the sword, then Zepho advised with the children of Kittim to go to Egypt to fight with the sons of Jacob and with Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. For Zepho heard that the mighty men of Egypt were dead and that Joseph had his brethren and his sons at Jacob were dead, and that all the children of Israel remained in Egypt. And Zepho considered to go and fight against them and all Egypt, to avenge the cause of his brethren, the children of Esau, whom Jacob with his brethren and all the Egyptians had smitten in the land of Canaan, when they went up to bury Jacob in Shebron. And Zepho sent messengers to Hadad, son of Bedad, king of Edom, and to all the brethren and the children of Esau, saying, Did you not say that you would not fight against the king of Africa, for he is the member of your covenant? Behold, I fought with him and smote him and all his people. Now, therefore, I have resolved to fight this against Egypt and the children of Jacob, who are there. I will avenge of them for what Joseph, his brethren, and the ancestors did to us in the land of Canaan when they went up to bury their father Hebron. Now, if you are willing to come with me to assist me in fighting against them and Egypt, then shall we avenge the cause of our brothers. And the children of Esau hearkened to the words of Zepho, and the children of Esau gathered themselves together, very great people, and they went to assist Zepho and the children of Kittim in battle. And Zepho sent all the children of the east and to all the children of Ishmael with the words like unto these. And they gathered themselves and came to the assistance of Zepho and the children of Kittim in the war upon Egypt. And all these kings, the king of Edom and the children of the east, and all the children of Ishmael, and Zepho, the king of Kittim, went forth and arrayed all the hosts of Shebron. And the camp was very heavy, extending in length a distance of 3 days' journey. Holy smokes! A people numerous as the sand upon the seashore, which cannot be counted. And all these kings, their hosts went down and came against Egypt in battle, and encamped together in the valley of Pathrock. And all Egypt heard their report, and they gathered themselves together, all the people in the land of Egypt, and all of the cities belonging to Egypt, about 300,000 men. And the men of Egypt sent also to the children of Israel, who were in those days in the land of Goshen, to come to them in order to go to fight with these kings. And the men of Israel assembled, and there were about 150 men, and went into battle to assist Egypt. And the men of Israel and of Egypt went forth about 300,000 men and 150 men. And they went forward, these kings, to battle. And they placed themselves from without the land of Goshen opposite of Pathrock. And the Egyptian believed not in Israel to go with them in their camps together for battle. For all the Egyptians said, Perhaps the children of Israel will deliver us into the land of the children of Esau and Ishmael, for they are their brethren. And all the Egyptians said unto the children of Israel, Remain you here together in your stand, and we will go and fight against the children of Esau and Ishmael. And if these kings should prevail over us, then come you all together upon them and against us. And the children of Israel did so. And Tesbo, the son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, king of Kittim, and Hadad, the son of Bedad, king of Edom, and all their camps, and all their children of the east, the children of Ishmael, a people numerous as sand, encamped together in the valley of Pathrock, opposite Techpanec. And Balaam, the son of Beor, the Arami, was there in the camp of Tesbo, for he came with the children of Kittim to the battle. And Balaam was a man highly honored in the eyes of Tesbo and his men. And Tesbo said unto Balaam, Try by divination for us, that we may know who will prevail in battle, we or the Egyptians. And Balaam rose up rose up and tried the art of divination, and he was skillful in the knowledge of it. But he was confused, and the work was destroyed in his hand. And he tried it again, but it did not succeed. And Balaam despaired of it and left it and did not complete it. For this was from Yahuwah, in order to cause Tespo and his people to fall into the hand of the children of Israel, who had trusted in Yahuwah, the Elohim of their ancestors, in the war. And Tespo and Hadad put forces in battle array, and all the Egyptians went alone against them, about 300,000 men, and not one man of Israel was with them. And all the Egyptians fought with these kings opposite of Pathok and Takpanak, and the battle was severe against Egypt. And the kings were stronger than the Egyptians in that battle, and about 180 men of the Egyptians fell on that day, and about 30 men of the forces of the kings and all the men of Egypt fled from before the kings. So the children of Esau and Ishmael pursued the Egyptians, continuing to smite them unto the place where they came of the children of Israel. And all the Egyptians cried unto the children of Israel, hasten to us and assist us, save us from the hand of Esau, Ishmael, and the children of Kittim. And the 150 men of the children of Israel ran from their station to the camps of the kings, and the children of Israel cried unto Yahuwah Elohim to deliver them. And Yahuwah hearkened to the Israel, and Yahuwah gave all the men of the kings to their hand, and the children of Israel fought against these kings. And the children of Israel smote the 400,000 of the king's men, and Yahuwah threw a great concentration in the camp of the kings, so that the fear of the children of Israel fell upon them. And all the hosts of the kings fled from before the children of Israel, and the children of Israel pursued them, continuing to smite them unto the borders of the land of Cush. And the children of Israel slew them in the road, yet 2,000 men of the children of Israel, not one fell. Okay. And when the Egyptians saw the children of Israel and had fought with such few men with the kings, that the battle was so very severe against them, all the Egyptians were greatly afraid of their lives on account of the strong battle. And all the Egyptians fled, every man hiding himself from the array forces, and they hid themselves in the road and left Israel to fight. And when the children of Israel inflicted the terrible blow upon the king's men, and they returned from them after they had driven them from the border of the land of Cush, and all the children and all Israel knew the thing which the men of Egypt had done to them, and they had fled from them in battle, and had left them to fight alone. So the children of Israel also acted with cunning. And as the children of Israel returned from battle, they found some of the Egyptians in the road and smote them there. And while they slew them, they said to them these words: Wherefore did you go from us and leave us, being few people, to fight against these kings who had great people to smite us, that you might thereby deliver your own souls? And of which Israel met on the road, they, the children of Israel, spoke to each other, saying, Smite, smite, for he is an Ishmaelite, or an Edomite, or from the children of Kittim. And they stood over him and slew him, and they knew that he was an Egyptian. And the children of Israel did these things cunningly against Egypt, because they had deserted them in battle and had fled from them. And the children of Israel slew the men of Egypt in the road in this manner, about 200 men. And all the men of Egypt saw the evil which the children of Israel had done to them. So all the Egyptians feared greatly the children of Israel, for they had seen their great power, and that not one man of them had fallen. So all the children of Israel returned with joy on the road to Goshen, and the rest of the Egyptians returned each man to his place.
Jasher chapter 65. And it came to pass after these things that all the counselors of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and all the elders of Egypt assembled and came before the king and bowed down to the ground, and they sat before him. And the counselors and elders of Egypt spoke unto the king, saying, Behold, the people of the children of Israel is greater and mightier than we are, and thou knowest all the evil which they did to us in the road when we returned from battle. And thou hast also seen their strong power, for this power is unto them from their fathers. For but a few men stood up against a people numerous as the sand, and smote them at the edge of the sword, and of themselves not one has fallen. So that if they had been numerous, they would have utterly destroyed them. Now, therefore, give us counsel what to do with them, until we gradually destroy them from amongst us, lest they become too numerous for us in the land. For if the children of Israel should increase in the land, they will become an obstacle for us. And if any war should happen to take place, they, with their great strength, will join our enemy against us, and fight against us, and destroy us from the land, and go away from it. So the king answered the elders of Egypt, and said unto them, This is the plan advised against Israel, from which we will not depart. Behold, in the land are Pithon and Ramses, cities unfortified against battle. It behooves you and us to build them and to fortify them. Now, therefore, go you also and act cunningly toward them, and proclaim a voice in Egypt and in Goshen, at the command of the king, saying, All ye men of Egypt, Goshen, Pathros, and all their inhabitants, the king has commanded us to build Pithom and Ramses, and to fortify them for battle. Who amongst you, of all Egypt, of the children of Israel, and of all the inhabitants of the cities, are willing to build with us, shall each have his wages given to him daily, excuse me, at the king's order. So you go first to do cunningly and gather yourselves. I'm going to cough. Okay. Now, therefore,
You want me to read, John, or are you okay?
no, go ahead, please. I would appreciate that.
What verse?
Verse 10.
Okay. All the men of Egypt, Goshen and Pathrock, and all the inhabitants, the king has commanded us, build Pathrock and Ramek, and fortify them for battle. Who amongst all of Egypt, of all the children of Israel, and all of the inhabitants of the cities, are willing to build with us, shall each have his wages given to him daily at the king's order. So go you first and do cunningly, and gather yourselves, and come to Petham and Ramek to build. And while you are building, cause a proclamation of this kind to be made throughout Egypt, every day at the command of the king. And when some of the children of Israel shall come to build with you, you shall give them their wages daily for a few days, and after they shall have built with you for their daily hire, drag yourselves away from the daily one by one in secret, and then you shall rise upon and become their taskmasters and officers, and you shall leave them afterward to build without wages. Oh my gosh. And should they refuse, then force them with all your might to build. And if you do this, it will be well with us to strengthen our land against the children of Israel. For on account of the fatigue of the building and the work, the children of Israel will decrease, because you will deprive them from their women day by day. And all the elders of of Egypt heard the counsel of the king, and the counsel seemed good in their eyes, in the eyes of the servants of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all Egypt, and they did according to the word of the king. And all the servants went away from the king, and they caused a proclamation to be made in all of Egypt, in Tahpanah and in Goshen, and all the cities that surrounded Egypt, saying, You have seen what the children of Esau and Ishmael did to us, who came to war against us and wished to destroy us. Now, therefore, the king commanded us to fortify the land, to build the cities of Patham and Ramat, and to fortify them for battle, if they should again come against us. Whatsoever of you from all of Egypt and from the children of Israel will come and build with us, he shall have his daily wages given by the king, as commanded is unto us. And when Egyptians and all the children of Israel heard all the servants of Pharaoh had spoken, they came from Egypt and the children of Israel to build with the servants of Pharaoh, Pithom and Ramek, or Ramses. But none of the children of Levi came with their brethren to build, and all the servants of Pharaoh and his princes came first with a deceit to build all with all the Israel as daily hired laborers, and they gave Israel their daily hire at the beginning. And the servants of Pharaoh built with all Israel and were employed in the work of Israel for a month. And at the end of the month, all the servants of Pharaoh began to withdraw secretly from the people of Israel daily. And Israel went on with the work at the time, but then received their daily hire, because some of the men of Israel were yet carrying on with the work with Israel at the time. Therefore, the Egyptians gave Israel their hire in those days in order that they, the Egyptians, their fellow workers, might also take pay for their laborers. Gosh, this sounds familiar, doesn't it, everybody? And at the end of the year, the 4th month of all Egypt had withdrawn from the children of Israel, so that the children of Israel were left alone, engaged in work. And after all the Egyptians had withdrawn from the children of Israel, they returned and became oppressors and officers over them. And some of them stood over the children of Israel as taskmasters to receive from them all they gave them from the pay of their labor. And the Egyptians did in this moment to the children of Israel day by day, in order to afflict in their work. And all the children of Israel were alone engaged in labor. And the Egyptians refrained from giving any pay to the children of Israel from that time forward. And when some of the men of Israel refused to work on account of the wages not being given to them, then the executors and the servants of Pharaoh oppressed them and smote them with heavy blows, and made them return by force to labor with their brethren. Thus did all the Egyptians unto the children of Israel all the days. And all the children of Israel were greatly afraid of the Egyptians in this matter. And all the children of Israel returned and worked alone without pay. And the children of Israel built Pithom and Ramses, and all the children of Israel did work, some making bricks, some building, and some of the children of Israel built and fortified the land of Egypt and its walls. And the children of Israel were engaged in work for many years, until the time came when Yahuwah remembered them and brought them out of Egypt. But the children of Levi were not employed in the work of their brethren Israel from the beginning unto the day of their going forth from Egypt. For all the children of Levi knew that the Egyptians had spoken all these words with deceit to Israel. Brethren, and the children of Levi refrained from approaching to the work of their brethren, and the Egyptians did not direct their attention to make the children of Levi work. Afterward, since they had not been with the brethren at the beginning, therefore the Egyptians left them alone. And the hands of the men of Egypt were directed with continued severity against the children of Israel in that work. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel work with vigor. And the Egyptians embittered the lives of the children of Israel with hard work in mortar and bricks, and also in all number of work in the field. And the children of Israel called Melo, the king of Egypt, Miror, king of Egypt, because in these days the Egyptians had embittered all their lives with all this manner of work, and all the work wherein Egypt made the children of Israel labor. They exacted with rigor in order to afflict the children of Israel. But the more they afflicted them, the more increased and grew. And the Egyptians were grieved because the children of Israel.
Amazing aha moments, huh?
Whoa.
There is some big ones in there. Let's go back to 61.
Let's go back to 61. Okay. Do you have anything, Instructor?
Thanks for pinch hitting, Gwen.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is just a little bit comment. Okay. I know it's
61?
off the wall. Yes, on 61. Okay. The name Zepho. I think of the Marx Brothers.
Or Zephyr later.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's off the wall, I
61.
said.
61 really struck me that in so much of Jasher, we're getting a parallel history of Esau.
Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Did you want to say something?
Now, why would we get that?
Well, I think part of it to show that Esau is also being blessed with lots and lots of kids, and here they are, they're all fighting with each other.
Okay. What I find is that phrase that keeps coming up, numerous as the sun, numerous as the sun. Right? Like we always, in the text that we read, we're hearing that and it's with Israel, right? But just in these few chapters, we're hearing that particular reference being directed towards Esau and the Ishmaelites, numerous as the sun. So that kind of correlates with the promises that were made to Abraham about his sons, right? That they would both be numerous. So it just feels different reading that phrase when it's not being referred to directly to the Israelites, it's being referred to the Ishmaelites. But it's kind of like a reminder, I guess, that God is still in control. Those are my 2 cents.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, what do you think this is about them going through all the trouble to bring Jania, the wife of Engias, the water from her homeland to drink and bathe in and bake in? Is there something to that? What is there?
There
I'm just
is.
thinking about, look at right now, how nobody wants to drink the water where they are, so they buy bottled water.
I don't. I have a Berkey. But anyways. But yeah, it's a good point. So then what's wrong with the water? What's wrong with the water?
So they weigh the waters.
Pardon?
So heavy water, it would be different. Wouldn't that consist with more minerals in it? I don't know. I'm just thinking from a health perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, even when you travel now, when you have stomach issues if you drink the water that you're not used to.
Exactly.
Go to Mexico, get Montezuma's revenge.
Don't eat the ice and do not drink the water.
Go to Egypt, get Pharaoh's revenge.
Mm, 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 mm.
Wait.
Go to Canada,
Oh,
get
yeah.
Quinn's revenge.
I can't even go to another town without revenge.
Okay. The water and the soil. So it'll be just like it was in Kitchen Music. I think it's
We can't hear you. You guys are muffled.
Yeah, super bad.
Okay, so she was saying, well, plant growing soil.
You're even more muffled now somehow.
Do you hear me now, sir?
That's better.
Okay, so she was saying, do you want to say it?
thing about the plant. Well, the plants grow in the soil, right? So they have the water from the sun and the soil, and then it would probably grow the same, pretty close to what it would be like in kitchen.
That makes sense. Imported water, imported soil.
Yeah. So then whatever
Is in on the water.
You're like muted again somehow. I don't know what you're doing.
The water where they're at isn't filled with life. Neither is the soil.
That makes sense.
So that's the point she was trying to make.
Okay, let's go to 62. Before I choke to death. Okay, 62. We have the patriarchs dying, right?
Are they all dying at the same time? Like how far apart are they? They're only a couple years apart, right?
They're only a
They
few
were-
years apart, and then they die a few years apart. Also.
Yeah. So what the heck is that all about? Like, is that a coincidence?
That kind of happens.
Well, I guess if you're all eating the same plant from the same soil with the same water, maybe. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
They all died around 120, 125. About, where Abba said, you're not living any longer than that. Looks like Reuben, he lucked out. I don't, wait. One of them. Yeah. Interesting.
Okay. Okay. We're at 63 yet?
I'm sorry.
Are we at chapter 63 yet?
Do you want to be at chapter 63?
Well, I mean,
Okay, so here we have more fighting between Moab and Edom and Africa, Zepho, right? Still haven't really gotten this, other than we're running this parallel history of Edom. So let's go to 63 since Gwen's itching.
okay.
Okay.
No, you just keep talking. I'll find it. I'll find it. Just keep going.
That.
Okay.
Okay, so we have the Egyptians are basically replaced. None of them remember the children of Joseph, or the children of Jacob, sorry. So there's this forgotten
Yes.
history.
That's what I want to talk about.
Okay, let's talk about your forgotten history.
No, not mine. But I mean, well, but here's the thing: like, how many generations? Is it only one generation that they like forgetting? It, like they couldn't have completely forgot. People did still talk about it, but like out of sight, out of mind, right? So then that's why it's so important to keep remembering constantly all the time. So you have like one generation and they don't remember Joseph, the leader. They don't remember, like nobody's talking about what he did during the 7 years of plenty and the 7 years of famine. Like nobody's talking about that.
You think it's public education?
It wasn't public education, clearly, because people are just living in the present. They're not living for the future, right? They're just living for right now, clearly. Because if it's like when you certain cultures will talk about, will sit down like oral history. Like they'll sit down and say, you know what, grandpa did this and great grandpa did that and your ancestors did this, so that we won't repeat history or we'll repeat the good stuff. But ultimately you can see people just living in the present, but they're not living for the future. To live for the future, you have to remember the past and how it went and then evolve from there. So clearly they didn't. And I'm just a bit upset about that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. During this time, which somehow I don't think this went into it, but there was a period where there was a ruler that came in that was not Egyptian. He was actually an Assyrian, and then it was him and his son when Moses comes along. This is, like what, a generation, 2 generations later?
Yeah, it's a while later.
Okay, because they've been in there a while, and they weren't in Egypt for 400 years. That 400-year prophecy thing started way prior to them, to Jacob having his sons and then going into Egypt. It encompassed time before they were in Egypt.
Paul spells that out and says it's, what was it, 430 years from something like that.
Yeah, but there was
the giving of the promise to the giving of the law.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Well, they have, so now I'm reading verse 6. Therefore, all Egypt began from that day forth to embitter the lives of the sons of Jacob, to afflict them in all manner of hard labor, blah, 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 blah. So they knew who they were. So what part of the storyline did they actually forget? Like, how, you have a spoiled brat. You give them something before they're ready to have it. You don't want to give a 15-year-old your inheritance. You want to wait until they develop some kind of character. But here, like, they do remember, but they're not remembering. Oh, active remembering. Maybe that's what it is. Like they forgot, because not forgetting like being mindless and they're forgetting. Maybe they're forgetting by the way they behave every day, the choices and the decisions that they're making to continue to prosper, to continue to evolve, to continue to grow. But they didn't. They continued the poor behavior. So they knew who Jacob's sons were. They were all dying. They're all dead now. But, his sons, they knew who they were. So they didn't forget.
So Galatians 3:17 is where that is. And this I say, that the covenant which was confirmed before God in Christ, the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul that. It should make the promise of none effect. Right? In 16, he's talking about the promise to Abraham.
But that doesn't mean that they were in captivity that whole time. It was just 400 and some years after. Right?
Then why did they say we were in slavery for 400 years? Okay.
Well, maybe do they have a habit of exaggerating? Don't we all have a habit of exaggerating our stories?
The scribes do.
And just remember that today people are like they are back then. Short-lived memories.
Yep.
People who learn from history are doomed to watch those who don't repeat it.
I was almost going to object to what you were saying until you continued to talk. Okay. Anyway,
So
let's keep going.
let's go to 64.
Yes.
Because Gwen is itchy.
Okay, where was it?
Hey,
Okay.
who gave out the purple shirt memo and didn't give it to the rest of us?
It's black. This is black. It's not purple.
Uh-huh.
You're colorblind.
Oh no,
I
mine is
suppose you're going to
purple.
say your hair is black too.
No, it's not.
Okay, purple head. Anyways,
Okay.
purple
so
people eater. Oh my goodness. Okay.
stay focused.
Are you telling someone else to stay focused? Oh my goodness.
Your hair is purple now.
Okay, so here we have this big battle, and I think Gwen was initially reading this. Gwen was reading this, and what was it? 130
Oh yeah.
130 Israelites and 300,000 Egyptians against 800,000 everybody else.
You okay? You have
150.
150, yeah.
Okay.
you have this world power, right? And this world power, i.e., Egypt, the Egyptians, and you see that they're full of pompous and they're full of talk and they blah 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 blah, right? And people are afraid of them. Fundamentally, they're initially afraid of them, right? But they seem to be, as time goes on, clearly cowards. They're cowards. So you have them blowing hot air and they're saying all this other stuff, and then you can see they're tucking their tail between their legs and running. So anyway, I just thought that was just really, what is he saying? History shows it only takes one generation to make a difference for good. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So what I noticed in this chapter, there's a lot of avenging going on.
I know.
So avenging or revenge, are they the same?
But it depends on which side you're on.
Revenge.
No, I'm just
Revenge is when you do it. Avenge is when someone does it in your stead.
Ah. So
So
Abba
then-
will avenge
I
us.
just have to make sure. Well, I was trying to talk about it from a flesh point of view, Lynn. Gosh. Okay, never mind. Let's stay focused. Okay.
Okay, so the summary of this chapter, though, basically, Egypt becomes fearful of Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of a few hundred men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, after they see what they do.
What if there's a lot of them?
Mhm. Well, come on.
You know-
If 150 can take out 200,000,
And then they come back from battle because they're not tired because they're hybrids of some sort. And they come back from battle and they still decide to kill a few more people along the way because what? They've been, I don't know what kind of diet they've been eating. But yeah,
The
Coming
Goshen
up-
diet.
coming up against the giants that we have nowadays, right? Like, what are our giants? Like mirroring that to present day 2022. What are the giants that we're facing now? Are we talking from a place of fear? Are we talking from a place of intimidation? Are we whining and complaining and not saying anything? Or are we, anyways.
I know for me, there's a little bit of whining and complaining, and sometimes there's just me throwing myself on the floor and having a temper tantrum. But then I get over it and keep telling myself, no, Abba's got this. Okay, you're done with that now. Abba's got this. So then the peace and the joy comes in, and the peace is amazing. So that's all I wanted.
Okay, here's one of my takes on this particular chapter.
Mhm.
It's showing the absolute lack of, I don't know, strength or courage in these people who are traditionally, they were kind of vegetarians, and there were more of them, and then they bring in 150, just 150 of the Israelites who are hefty meat eaters. And they have, of course, Yahuwah on their side. And how valiant they are, and they were protected. And then they got these little sniveling prissies that thought they had everything in the numbers that abandoned them.
Mhm.
And then they were just getting their butts whooped all the way back home.
Well, I think we see parallels in that in recent history with like all the Arab-Israeli wars, UN Israel.
UN Israel?
Right, that little place over there in the Middle East.
It's
That.
so small, I'm not exactly sure.
But when they rout continually 3 nations or 5 nations or 6 nations at a time, there's something to that, to this chapter historically.
Mhm.
It says something about those people in their ability to wage war, I think.
Maybe they just fight smarter.
Running away isn't fighting.
There is a time to wait and have strategy.
Run away. They're saying to themselves, so I can fight another day.
I wonder what kind of weaponry that they had to come back and still kill those people.
Bronze.
Well, smoting isn't necessarily killing.
Okay. But that said they killed another,
Maybe it's like a way.
It does say they killed a lot.
yeah. But when they came back on the road, remember? They
Yeah,
killed a couple of
the
Egyptians.
Egyptians that ran away from them, that ran away from the battle, the Egyptians that hid and cowered.
Okay, look up the word smoting. Of course, smoting is killing. Smote is like an English.
Nope.
It's like an old English. Well, I mean, what they
Nope.
hit him over the head.
Look it up.
It's a strike.
Okay, fine. Not always. The strike that eventually brought death, because if I punch you in the nose now, I smoted you, but then a week later you're dead. So no one really knows the body count.
Well, and there's also a change in the meaning of words, you'll see. Okay.
Yes.
So we call it killing now. Okay. But it could mean just injure, severe discipline.
Severe discipline.
Severe discipline.
Yeah.
So it's 4347.
Okay.
Smote.
I
A
gotta
blow.
go to the chat now.
A
Okay,
blow.
thank you for reading.
Thank you. And by implication, a wound.
See, now I thought she was going to hang out for 65. So let's go to 65.
I'm already at 65.
Of course you are.
Surprise me.
You're faster than us.
Okay, so 65, they come up with this plan. Have we seen this in modern times?
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Doesn't this sound familiar? Like all of this sounds familiar. Present day nonsense that's happening.
Right? Hey, we can build our nation together, and then all of a sudden there's a slave class and an elite class, a ruling class.
Well, the way they did it, like, let's go in and let's work all together because we're a team. We'll all get a wage and then we'll slowly creep back little by little. But then Levi, what happens with Levi? Okay, let's talk about Levi. Levi and their people. They don't go in on it, right? They don't go in. So the Egyptians don't even bother with the tribe of Levi or whatever, the family of Levi.
They figure,
leave them alone.
We got 11/12 of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but why didn't they communicate with their brothers?
How many? Let me ask you this: how many of your relatives did you try to warn about everything we're going through right now? And they were like, that's crazy talk. Mm-hmm. Doctors and scientists know what they're talking about. Why would the government lie to us?
Okay, so then hypothetically they did. They did tell the people, but...
And they said, those crazy Levites, cool, make them a tinfoil hat.
Okay. And then they got, well, hang on a second. But the Egyptians, i.e. government, whoever, powers that be, forget about them. They don't bother with them.
Right? If you are lying to a room of 100 people,
They'll believe you.
and 95 people believe you, and 5 of them are saying, these guys are charlatans, are you going to concentrate on those people? Or are you going to concentrate on the people that you already swindled?
Okay, fair enough.
Now, here's the thing. Levi didn't partake in that.
I know.
Who was made the priesthood?
Yes, I know, obviously.
Why? Is that part of the reason why? Because they said, no, we're servants of God. We're not serving Pharaoh. Is it because...
I think, suddenly I want to know what happens to the tribe of Levi. We're like Levi. Oh, man. Are we though? Are we like Levi? They were already priests.
I don't know. I used to like Levi's before they got all politically goofy.
They don't make them like they used to either. So.
No, they don't.
Are we talking about clothes or are we talking about people?
And GR says they were already the priests.
Mm-hmm. Right. So they were separated. They separated themselves, and they had the presence of mind to say, nope, not going to go play that with these people. And you all shouldn't do that either, but nobody listened.
So they came out from among them before coming out from among them was popular.
Yep.
Okay, so then if you think about it, like when they started to complain, so when God rescues them from Egypt and they whine and complain, oh, we were able to go to the grocery store and, buy fish and, we were able to buy pizza pops and
we had Taco Bell.
So Levi wasn't a part of those complaining groups, right? So they get accustomed to their wage. Okay, like the parallel. If you look at our now, you get accustomed to the hourly wage that you get. You get accustomed to the grocery store that's just down the street. You get accustomed to the gas station that's just down the street, and then suddenly,
but not just that, you get accustomed to the system. You get accustomed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Even if you're making $20 an hour, you're like, boy, I need $25 an hour. And you're not saying I need to break out of this system and work for myself.
Yeah.
And dedicate my life to God. You're saying I need to stay in the system, and then Pharaoh will take care of me with this fine retirement plan of flesh pots from Taco Bell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when they came in, like if you think about it way back in the day when they were trying to get, kids segregated into schools so that they can have access to the parents for, jobs for the wars back in the day. So they're separating the children from the parents because they have an agenda. But then you have like this infiltration of restructuring the mindset of you being dependent on your daily wage, and you like it, it's consistent, it's like, so pretty soon, this is why when God rescued them from Egypt, they didn't have a daily wage in the desert, but they had daily food, but just what they needed.
They had everything provided for them.
Right. So just what they needed. Right. Just what they needed. So in Egypt, in wherever we are now, we have way more than that what we need. So when you extract all our comforts, when you extract, the fast food and the drive-throughs, and you extract, like there's only one grocery store, we can only buy tissue paper or toilet paper at that one grocery store. So we all like decide to beat each other like imbeciles for the tissue paper. We don't realize that we're not depending on God to give us what we need. We want our excess because we think our excess is what we have the right and the privilege to have every day, which we don't. We're spoiled brats is what we are.
Well, they are fighting at Walmart over toilet paper. Some of us were smart enough to be stealing it from truck stops.
Just use a turkey baster.
What?
Some of us saved up all our Jason's deli napkins.
You don't need, it's more, you can keep yourself cleaner if you just wash yourself. It's better. So if you run out, don't panic. Just wash yourself.
Just go out into the snow, turn on the garden hose.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I'll get that little squirt bottle thingy out.
Squirt bottle. I never thought of that one. Anyway.
Yeah. Like your little mustard and ketchup things.
Yep, that's the thing. But actually, I think it says it only took them a month.
Yeah.
Till there were no more Egyptians working on it. And then like a year, and they weren't even paying the Israelites anymore.
Yeah. And now you're stuck because now you've put your dependency on your daily wage that you had. And now you don't have a daily wage, but how are they eating? They're giving them rations, you know, they're starving them eventually, because eventually the powers that be will starve you so that you become incredibly more dependent on, you know, food stamps or being in lineup for your little bowl of, you know.
Until the point where they just say, well, you're worthless. We might as well kill
Right.
you.
In your mind, you're not preparing ahead of time. You're not thinking of the future. You're just thinking of the present. You're just thinking of your daily wage.
Off to
You're
the
not
glue
thinking of
factory.
the future. Right. So get yourself seeds, get yourself a plan that you're implementing so that you can, not just because there's stuff coming down the pipe, like stuff's going to hit the fan. Yeah, but that's not why we should do it. That's not why we should prepare for our future. We should prepare for our future because
Yeah.
that's the way God, what, huh?
Why everybody's fighting over toilet paper. They were giving away face masks.
Just collect those.
While everybody was fighting over toilet paper, I was smiling because Abba had me saving up toilet paper for a year.
We just have to think ahead for the right reasons, or we're still going to fall in the same trap because we're doing it because we're afraid. If you're planning for the future and prepping for the future and all of this stuff, you're still doing it with fear. No, just be smart and know that we were supposed to be self-sufficient. Follow God, yeah, 100%. He gave you an independent mind, not to be so codependent on whatever. I mean, I fall under that category too. I mean, I'm guilty too, but anyways, okay, I'm done talking.
Bless you. Did someone sneeze?
And then in the end, the more they afflicted him, the more they increased and grew.
Yep. Isn't that kind of the way it works, though?
Yeah.
Don't pray for affliction because, I mean, I don't want to grow. It's like asking and praying for wisdom. No, I'm good. Or patience. No,
Or patience. Yeah.
I'm good. I don't need any more. No more affliction.
Grow on the inside or you'll grow on the outside.
Okay. Any other general observations from what we read today?
That we're still idiots and we haven't learned much.
Hamsters on a wheel.
Okay. Well, thank you for reading, Lynn. Thank you for reading, Gwen. Thank you for reading Harmony.
NGR.
Thank you. Yes,
Yep. NGR. Miss Glenna.
for sure.
Mrs. Glenna. She says, that's Mrs. Glenna to you. Okay, she doesn't. That. Anyways, everybody, thanks for joining in. If Matt was here, he would share, like, share, subscribe, ring the little
Why
bell.
isn't he here? Because I'm here, Matt? Like all of a sudden I'm reading and you're not here? What's up with that?
It's easier to be in the chat and pontificate. That's why. Yeah. So everybody, thanks for coming. We enjoyed having you, even if we were choking on our own body fluids. Yeah.
You were.
That's disgusting. We don't need to overshare.
I know. Yeah. Anyways, everybody, love you all. We'll talk to you very soon. And keep your eyes open. Don't fall for the lies. Listen to the tinfoil hat people because they're right.
For sure.
Bye. Oh, you can't see me waving. Okay, bye.
Bye.